Hi, I want to talk today about why my manifestations have been coming true instantly, guys. Like, it's been outrageous. So, if you guys are new here, I'm Kelsey. I'm the manifesting scientist. I teach the science of manifestation because if you're like me, I was a total skeptic. I needed the science to understand how manifestation worked before I could fully believe in its power. And this plays a lot into today's show. So, let's dive in. I'm going to give you guys a little background to make it all make sense, and I'm going to tell you the three things that have really changed the game for me to make my manifestations come true like that, guys. In December 2023, I did this journaling prompt. It's from something that I have called the Highest Self Starter Pack. I made it during a time when I kind of had just had my spiritual awakening, so all these techniques were so powerful to me. There's like a journaling quiz, because one of my biggest problems was like, what the heck do I journal today? Like, what do? I would just stare at a blank sheet of paper, which is fine. Like, I do a lot of stream of consciousness journaling too, where you can just sort of write whatever comes to your mind. But I really wanted a tool to help me like journal through my goals and like feelings and stuff like that. So I have this quiz that you can use, and so I did my own quiz, and the quiz led me to this prompt that was like, write to your current self as if you are your future self who has accomplished everything that you desire. Okay, yeah, ooh, Kelsey, good prompt. And so I sat down, I started writing, I was typing on my computer, had vague memories of doing this prompt before, like I knew I had done it, and I knew usually when I did it, I had the energy of like, yes, queen, you know, like you did it, it feels so good, money's flowing in, your life feels magical, you got all the things, oh my gosh, your office is beautiful with its brand new desk, like very how you would expect, right? Just manifesting wealth, manifesting my business to do well. It was always with a really good positive energy, which is good. But this time when I went to sit down to journal, my future self like came through really strong. And I'd heard people say they have like channel journaling experiences or whatever it's called, where like they don't even know what they're writing and their hands are just like writing and like, where's that information coming from? And maybe one time, but I'd never really had an experience like I did this time. This time felt crazy. It truly felt in my body like I was channeling something else. I guess it was my future self, because that's what I was asking for, but I was looking for that positive, like, you got it, sis, type of experience, and what I got instead was this super intense energy coming through. It was this really intensity, like urgency coming through, and I was typing so fast. My fingers were flying. I didn't even know I could type that fast. So I'm typing, and everything is just like, you have to share on consciousness. You have to keep doing the work you're doing. You have to keep teaching about consciousness, quantum physics, and everything you are learning about the universe. You have gifts that no one else has, and people only understand it from you. People understand because you marry the science of manifestation, and you need to share this. It was just this sense like, you have to post more, you have to get the word out there. The world is going to be very different. Oh, and the future self I was writing from was December 2023. So it was just me saying the world's gonna look very different. Humanity is on the precipice of, it could be really good or really bad, but your information is going to help change the world. The way you study and talk about the science of spirituality, you have to keep posting it, because it's going to connect with the right people. It's going to change the world, and we need you to raise the world's vibration in this way. And I was like, oh my God, like I felt the urgency and the intensity and the pressure to do this, and it was like my future self telling me this. So I don't know what exactly that means, but I got the sense that the future was going to be different because of artificial intelligence and the technologies that are coming out nowadays. And the technologies can help us, but only if done with the proper consciousness levels and ethics and higher vibrations. Otherwise, these technologies will be sort of like how really cool new science in the 40s got turned into the atomic bomb. Artificial intelligence can help us, but it must be done with a high enough level of consciousness from the people who created it. And it's my job to keep sharing that information with you guys over and over and keep posting you and getting you guys in my program so all of our vibrations can raise. But I'm writing as current me in December 2020. So I'm like, okay, but will I be rich? Like I was trying to hit this goal in my business, and my future self was like, yeah, obviously you're gonna hit all your goals. That part literally doesn't matter. Like, the world is sitting on your shoulders. January, I started posting every single day on TikTok. I post on Instagram consistently, but my intention, like January 1st, when I started like posting all the stuff, I was like, universe, I'm happy to share everything about you that I know. Teach me everything about you and I will share all of it. But I can't help people if no one's watching. I can't change anyone's lives if no one can see my material. Please help me get the viewers. Help me get the followers, help me get the views, like help me connect to the souls who are meant to hear this information. So if you're watching, like for some reason, you were meant to hear this. When I say my manifestations start coming true instantly is like the next day I got viral video on TikTok, and the whole month of January, my baseline views increased like 10 times. Like my average views used to be around 200 and now they're around 2,000. I had a bunch of videos like go viral. And I knew this was no accident. Yes, I'd been posting more consistently, but this is the epitome of manifestation, right? It's thought plus emotion plus action. All my burning desire was intent on this. And yeah, I'd been doing more posts, but I could feel the universe was like locking me in with the viewers who are meant to see that. Then in February, and right now it's like mid-February. So at the beginning of February, I asked, okay, I got the views. Keep bringing those in, keep helping me spread the word. I will keep doing my part and keep learning, keep educating myself, and keep teaching people. But when the views come in, I need more people in my work. Like people can watch a 1-minute video, a 3-minute video, even this video like longer, but then they'll just move on with the rest of the day and not really change anything. And while it's still good, like I'm still helping people plant the seeds, I need the people, I need to connect with the souls who are ready to do the work. I need to connect to the souls who are going to commit their time to watch the master classes, show up every day and meditate, join the program so they can actually do the work to raise their vibration. And the universe said, I got you. And literally the next day, I had another video go viral and it was connected to my Coherence Masterclass, and I got like a new download like every 10 minutes. I literally got like, I think like 2 or 3, I'll have to check the numbers, but I got like 200 or 300 downloads in a day just from that one video. My Coherence Masterclass had only about 150 downloads up to that point. So my numbers doubled in one day. And after people watch that masterclass, people are saying like, hey, I want to join your Coherence program. And that's how I knew like, okay, the universe is sending me these people who are asking are meant to do the work. And now these people are in the Coherence program and they get these 8 brain training audios to actually change their neural pathways and attract what they want. And this is important for later. So I'm telling you what's inside the Coherence program for a reason, because this is important for the 3 steps that are helping me with my manifestations. I've always known I create my reality. I always feel like I am in a position of creation power. That being said, I didn't always know how fast my manifestations would appear. It was a lot of trial and error for me. You know, I'm a skeptic. I said that at the beginning. I am the manifesting scientist because I need the science to prove to me it was true. So in the beginning, there was a lot of falling off the wagon because I'm like, I already said my affirmations and nothing happens, you know, after like a week of doing them. Or even after a month of doing stuff, like nothing would happen. I'd be like, oh, I must be doing it wrong. And I went through a huge trial and error period within myself of trying out different manifesting methods that I heard from creators that I really liked. I read a lot of books. I learned a lot of the science. That's what helped me personally the most. And I learned like what actually matters for your manifesting. But for me, it was trial and error. And even after I got really good at it and I began teaching it to you guys, I always knew my manifestations would come true, but they took different amounts of time. This year, I don't know how to explain, but one, they're happening instantly. Like I told you, I'd be like, universe, get me people inside this masterclass. And the next day it's like double the people inside the masterclass. Like that, like instant. Like it's wild. After I noticed people were joining the masterclass, I was like, universe, I need people to join the program. And literally like within the hour I had a message saying like, hey, when are you running your program next? I'm like, you can join right now. And so now there's people inside the program. I'm like, wow, what's different about this year? Like, why is it different? And here's the 3 stages that these are why I know it's working for me this year. The first step is understanding the science. Even if you don't care about the science and you don't understand like every single fact, it doesn't matter because I'm here to teach it to you. I'm here to teach you the methods that work based on science. This is important for two reasons. One, it was important for me because I didn't believe in manifestation powerfully enough without knowing there was some science, at least some proof that this worked. So if you're a more spiritually open person and you just fully believe in it anyways, then you don't need the science as much as someone like me who's a real skeptic. I really wanted it to be true, but I really needed that proof along the way. So the first thing is like the placebo effect. Like, we know in the placebo effect, whatever you believe to be true comes true. Like Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. We know that when patients have taken Advil versus a sugar pill, but the doctor told them this cures your headaches, we've seen that the patients who took the sugar pill actually cured their headache, and the only thing that was different was their beliefs. So their belief literally changed their reality. The placebo effect is one of the best scientific examples we have of this. We know it's true. And so for me, I need the science to cultivate that level of belief that I know I am the creator of my reality. Personally, have been studying the science for a long time, and I hit a threshold where I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I create every single aspect of my reality. So if you aren't quite at that belief level yet, I would recommend joining my Coherence Masterclass, binging stuff on this channel, following on TikTok, studying the science in whatever way feels the best for you, and really cultivating that belief that you create your reality. And if you have questions, ask them. The second reason the science is important, so if you're like more spiritually open, you don't need to personally know the science. If you're more skeptic like me, I would recommend studying the science. That being said, for both types of people, the second reason the science is really important is to make sure that we are manifesting in a methodical way. For example, if you just went around asking people like, how do you become happy? What makes you happy? You're gonna get a whole bunch of different answers, and they're all subjectively true. People will say like, well, I like to go outside. Well, I like to, swim. I like to play with my cat. Like, whatever. People are gonna give all kinds of answers that make them happy, and you might try some of them and they might make you feel better, and you might try others and they don't work for you, and you won't really know. And then if you try a bunch that don't work for you, you start to feel like, oh, is this real? Can I even be happy? Does any of this work? Now, so much science has been coming out on what's the science of emotion, what makes people happy. And we know that there's serotonin and dopamine in our brains. And we know that when we scroll on social media, we get blasts of dopamine to the brain, sometimes on crazy uncontrollable levels. So that's why we become addicted to our phones and social media. But the point is, now we have a science of the chemical reactions happening inside our brain. So if a neurologist said, here's things that make you happier, like they've proven that meditation is a huge thing that makes people happier. Like I said, social media will give you an initial boost, but it's not good to do long term. There's things like go outside, get vitamin D, right? Like there's things that science has shown that literally make the happy chemicals in your brain explode. And so when we know this, we can therefore make a more sound, a more foolproof process for becoming happier. Of course, it's subjective and complex, so one step of that might have more benefit towards one individual than another individual, or depending on like how much work you've done in the past, you might have to do that process more times than a second person to get the same result. But with science, we can much better come up with standard operating procedures for how to become happy versus just everyone like, well, I guess if I do this, and then it not working for the next person. Does that make sense? Like we can come up with like a baseline procedure that you can slightly modify for yourself versus everyone just saying their random stuff. So the science is important for the placebo effect, the belief system, and having like a standardized method. Part two, what's important is the consistency. So you can know everything about the science of manifestation. You can read every book in the world on manifestation, but if you aren't practicing the things you're reading, then you're not going to be able to create intentionally. You are creating your reality in this very moment. You're creating in every single moment, but you won't be able to create intentionally until you do the thing. You could read a million books about investing in the stock market, but until you put money inside of the stock market, it ain't gonna grow for you. You can read a book on how to swim, but you won't know if you know how to swim until you jump in the water and try to swim. This was one thing that I realized in my programs. They're all different lengths. So a masterclass is like an hour long. My Mindset Magic Month program is 30 days. Coherence Program is 8 weeks. Unlock the Universe is 6 weeks. But This is just how long it takes for me to teach the material to you. It's not how long it will take for you to attract everything in your life immediately right to you. So in my Coherence program, this is why I wanted to mention it in the beginning so you have some baseline. It's 8 weeks broken down into like 4 2-week sections, and each of those 2-week sections I give you a brain entrainment audio plus 1 module. That's it, so you can focus on training the new neural pathways in your brain. But you have to listen to the audio every single day for it to work. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And if you like miss 1 day out of the 8 weeks, that's fine. But if you start missing every day and you sort of only listen to the first week and fall off the wagon, like obviously that program's not really going to get you the results that you want because you didn't do the work. You can read all about putting on muscle at the gym and watch Fitspo on Instagram, but unless you go in the gym and lift weights yourself to put on muscle on your body, it's not going to work for you. You have to show up and do the work, and that's the same with these programs. So for example, in Coherence, it takes 8 weeks to go through the process of retraining your brain to manifest everything you want by building these new neural pathways and connections in your mind. Now the neural pathway is there, but you have to practice using it for it to work for you. Like, think about the first time you ever drove a car. The car is there, you are driving the car, but it's clunky. You might not be a good driver. You might be physically driving, you have the car, the road, yourself, but you might not be good at it. Or think about now you can drive much faster than the first day you got in the car because you practiced using that neural pathway. Just because in 8 weeks you build new neural pathways, well, beyond the 8 weeks is where the growth happens. Like, even though the program's over because I taught you everything, you still have to show up for yourself to keep manifesting everything you desire. The second step is consistency, because it's at this point that I had been being consistent for years and years and years. It's like, okay, maybe back in the day, you know, we have those powerful spiritual awakenings. If you've had that, like, you know, it feels so good when you just sort of like learn an incredible truth and you're like, whoa, but it's the integration over time that really solidifies that lesson. The spiritual awakenings feel really good, and in our bodies, they feel like the most exciting things. But in reality, the thing that changes who we are is showing up every single day, every single moment for ourselves and becoming the person who we want to be, not just having like one wild moment. We're all complex human beings with a vastly different history from each other. So some people can begin firing the neurons in their brain and manifest like crazy, like week 1 or 2 of the program. And then everyone else sees those and hopefully gets inspired. Most people feel awesome about it, but some people start to feel like, well, why hasn't this happened to me yet? And then that brings them back down to a lower vibration, and then they either fall off the wagon and become inconsistent, or they get to the end of the program and they're like, well, my goal was $1 million and I didn't hit it yet, so I guess the program didn't work, or I guess manifestation's not real, or something like that. But that's not true. That other person might have just started real close to the finish line and you started behind the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, the other person just might have been a lot closer to having that work for them because they had been doing the work for years and years and years, and this was the final push they needed to quantum leap, where you were kind of just starting the work, and so you might have a lot longer of a path to go. So you can't compare yourself to other people's journeys, which is why, again, the science is so important, because if you know you create your reality without a shadow of a doubt, you can't not show up and create it every single day. Like, if you know the science works, which is what I strive to teach you, then you can't not show up. And so the science helps you stay consistent because you know you have a method that is actually working. The third phase that my manifestations have been coming back instantly because I understood the science, I solidified it on such a deep level, I knew I just have to be consistent, and I showed up consistently. And so the third step is patience, and it is trust, faith, the thing that's the hardest to just truly believe it's all coming true, but it's patience that it's gonna work. So it's showing up even when you don't feel like you should have to show up anymore. It's when you take an 8-week program and you do the brain training audios every day for 8 weeks and you still didn't manifest the $2 million that you wanted to see, you show up for week 9 and week 10 and week 11. Or when you want to lose 100 pounds and you were hoping you could do it in a year, but it's past a year and you've only lost 70 pounds, that's awesome. You still lost 70 pounds. Like, you have to keep showing up every day to lose the next 30 pounds. Patience is so key in just trusting and fully believing it's going to happen for you. So before, I taught manifestation as I learned it, and I believed it would happen. I knew it would happen. I trusted the science. I knew these methods had to work that I teach, that were inside my programs. But for me, the neural pathways were still new. I wouldn't be surprised if my manifestations didn't happen that day or the next day or the next day or the next day, because I trusted the process. I knew the science, I did the methods, but I never knew when I would like receive the thing. I mean, I still don't know. Nobody knows always when they're going to receive the thing, but now it's just happening so much faster because I've been practicing every single day. We talked about when you first learn how to drive and you're kind of clunky at it versus being like Danica Patrick, star race car driver. Like, one is just you're just way better and faster. And it's just from repetition, doing it over and over and over and over. Or think of something in your life that maybe at first felt really hard and slow. I'm from Maryland, so we pick crabs. Like, you take a whole crab. If you don't know what that